Hello everyone. Welcome to a Monday stream. That has never happened. No, it did happen once. It did happen once. It was a test stream one Monday, but otherwise, this was the first Monday stream ever. Hey Chief, sorry I disappeared after that. I'm doing good. How are you doing? How's everyone else doing? Because when the starting soon screen is going, obviously I have to like get everything ready for the actual stream, because why would I get ready before that? uh, There's this. You with your book in hand. This better not be smut reading time. Like I said before, Haunted. Welcome in, by the way. It apparently does have some smut content, but it's in the DLC that I do not have. So we're gonna have like a whole vampire hunt situation happening, probably. You know, no smut, just vampire killing or whatever. But yeah, we have like, I don't know, like 4 hours left. Um, I don't think I'll be able to do it in 4 hours. But I will sure try. Lux without her smut is like an angel without their wings. Yeah, I guess I do not have my wings up, huh? I mean, that was just a Valentine's Day cosplay. I don't actually have wings. But I did show them off a little. But then again, like I said, um nothing new on the Frank Castle smut front, so I don't know what I should be reading, because there's no more new works on Archive of Our Own. I don't know what to do. Oh damn, she doesn't have wings because she has no sword. Yeah. They pop up when she starts reading it. You know, that could be a funny thing to do. The dark romance like lights out. Why do people know lights out? Uh yes, I did read that one. Lights Out was actually fine, surprisingly fine. I quite enjoyed it. I've read other stuff that is not as wait, do you know Lights Out? Yeah, cause I read it. I did not realize that it was so becoming so popular. I read it quite a while ago. But yeah. Out of like the smutty novels, I mean, no, it was honestly quite decent. Had consent and all that. That was nice. Um, Good to see. I don't really get stalker romances if they're just actual stalkers. That's kind of weird, but oh well. Except if it's in a fanfic. Fanfics are, I feel like, a totally different thing. Um, because like I give a lot more weird stuff a pass when it comes to fanfics because it's a fanfic. But when it's just more of a an actual book, then it's kind of like, holy shit, why is my Wi-Fi has been absolutely terrible for some reason for the past 30 minutes, and now my thing isn't working. God damn. Okay. A friend of mine, a girl, yes, of course. Said if a girl says no, it means keep trying. No. No, see, that's the problem with works like that, you know? Because if the girl previously consented that she wants to do stuff like that and will say no, but that still means that that keep trying or whatever, then it's okay. Yeah, this is like I said, that's why I like Lights Out, because there was quite explicit consent given, I think. Mm. There are several dark romances, because yeah, ooh, it's dark romance, which means anything can happen, and then it's just straight up non-con, and then everyone's like, yeah, that was hot. And I don't know, again, I judge fanfic differently. Oh, oh, it's already on, right? Fanfic be like, has a tag, dead dove do not eat. I click that shit. It's usually some pretty weird stuff in there, but yeah, and that's, I don't know. I mean, normal books don't really have that tag, but I don't know. Actually, dark romance is a very, I think dark romance is quite hard to do, or at least everything that I've seen, I don't think it's been done all that well. Um, but I think I was actually, oh yes, I did once get an idea for a dark romance that would be somewhat a commentary on the very popular dark romances. And I should definitely expand on that. That was a good idea. Dark romance, I put cameras in your room so I can watch you sleep women. That's so romantic, and no one cared like that. Yeah, so, again, like, that is why many dark romances are not really my thing, because that would just happen and the main character would be like, ah yes, how romantic indeed, or whatever. Um and I don't think so. But do that shit IRL and you go to jail. Exactly. That's the problem. It's all good if it's like all like, if it's like a part of an act, right? I very much think that then it's all fine if all the parties involved are consenting adults and all that. Because like, maybe you are into cameras in your room or whatever, but not just like how you usually see in dark romances, where it's just like, ah yes, you don't know me and I'm just going to become your stalker, and then I'm supposed to for that pairing. Oh, I remember the story from last week. They gonna smash. Oh, she last episode, I think you weren't here last episode. The entire thing was just about the other character that is not the two GFs, So I had to go full 2 hours of just reading about the maid lady, and no, I couldn't get back to these two's tension or whatever that's going on here. Um, so maybe they are now, because now we do actually get some stuff from their point of view. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, they're kind of like, stuff seems to be like ending, right? Because like it's in the title of the stream. The full moon is gonna happen, right? So Magdalena here was like kind of acting like this is the last day that Mikey's gonna be alive, and then she's gonna like drain her of her blood tonight because it's the full moon or whatever. And the other character, Henny, who was trying to save Mikey, also got some help from some vampire hunters, and they're also going here on the full moon night because the a vampire lady who's hunting vampires is the most powerful on the full moon. So yeah, shit's gonna happen. Oh, that's pretty exciting. Anyways, let's start reading this. I always stall because I get nervous to start, but after I start, it's usually fine. Okay, so they were talking about breakfast. Several minutes passed, neither Mikey nor Magdalena speaking, as Mikey partook of her breakfast. She chewed her scones, which now tasted of wallpaper, and washed them down with sips of apple tea, reminded her of washing up water. Once finished, her plate cleared of all save crumbs, her teacup empty of all save dregs, Magdalena took the tray and set it upon her bedside table. The voice is gone. That as well. I see the big problem with voices. It is kind of fun doing them, but I kind of forget how I do them, so I feel like sometimes I don't really do the same one. So that's kind of, oh well. There now, how do you feel? Refreshed, I hope? Oh yes, very. I'm glad to hear it. Now, do you wish me to help you with your toilet? You can hardly sit abed all day in your nightclothes. It's a pretty dress, certainly. Must be, being one of my own, but you can hardly wear it all the time. The fabric is much too flimsy. Mikey looked down at herself, bemused. Help me dress myself? You mean to help me dress myself? If you wish, I might as well. I feel like pampering you today, is all. And aren't you accustomed to this kind of thing? You must have had servants to help you dress growing up. Was that not Henny's job? You did help me, yes. You needn't trouble yourself. I'm old enough to dress myself. Age does not factor into it when one is a lady. I feel awful that I've been treating you in so abysmal a manner. If I had a spare lady's maid to offer you, I would, but alas, my castle is quite deserted. Quite deserted, thought Mikey, save for Magdalena's mysterious mistress. Let's go! That is what the title of the previous stream was! She did not comment upon this. Mikey had no desire to make things awkward between herself and Magdalena, not when it had been several days since last they had spoken. She didn't want Magdalena to leave. But neither did she want Magdalena to act like a servant. It seemed beneath her. Thought you were a lady once yourself. You shouldn't need to dress me. Oh yes, that is true. But one gets tired, you know, of being a lady all the time. Would you let me indulge? I thought it might be fun to experiment, and I fear I'll not get such an opportunity in the future. Well, if you insist. Becky capitulated with a small sigh. She was not truly upset. She was intrigued, rather, at the prospect of having Magdalena act as her servant. Intrigued and somewhat abashed. Oh my god, okay, we're gonna be doing some kinky things. I thought of Magdalena's fingers lifting her nightgown, knuckles brushing against her bared arms, her back, her shoulders. Startlingly intimate, not unpleasantly. With me, Mademoiselle. I shall entrust myself to your capable hands. That is the answer I was hoping for, yes. Thank you for trusting, though, dear Mikey. I promise I will take very good care of you. I've been hoping to get my hands on you for a while now. Now, why do you make that sound salacious? My, do you really think it sounds salacious? Oh, it does. I'm doing this on purpose. Make me blush. And do you blush when your Henny helps you out of your nightclothes and into your day dress? That isn't the same. Yes, Henny. Whereas you are... Yes. Magdalena took Mikey's hand and helped her stand, her red eyes glinting wickedly. Mikey hadn't expected this. She stumbled. She never did hit the floor. Magdalena was there to catch her. Oh my god! Magdalena snaked one arm about Mikey's waist and, pressing their bodies together, she softly said, "What am I, exactly?" "You're... am? Well, I mean to be paid for the day. You're acting in the most impertinent manner." "Perhaps I am, but alas, it's not in my nature to be pertinent. One has to wonder what you were expecting." "Myself. Be going mad." "I can't blame you for that, my dear Mikey. Not when you have been in prison for as long as you have. I, myself, have often wondered whether I have not become similarly addled. And have I been entrapped far longer, and I have been entrapped far longer than you have. Now," Selena smiled, all brightness anew, her smile one which easily rivaled the weak, watery sunshine which crept in through the gaps in the drawn curtains. "We have tarried too long. Let me first relieve you of your nightgown, my lady." Holy shit. Mikey stood there, feeling very exposed, as Magdalena moved to undress her. Oh boy. Her face reddened still, as Magdalena's touch and the brushing of her fingertips. Still... Oh. At Magdalena's touch and the brushing of her... Still, she stood there, pliant as an antique doll, as Magdalena slid her nightgown upwards. Oh boy. Mikey's nightgown, which was long, was lifted above her thighs, her chest, finally, her head. Magdalena cast the flimsy garment aside with a deft move, though she was careful not to creep. Holding the gown with experienced hands in a manner comparable to Henny's, she set it aside, then stood back to examine Mikey. "Goodness me, you really are lovely." Mikey was not yet wholly naked. She wore a chemise beneath her nightgown. It was eggshell white and shapeless, but she felt naked nonetheless, exposed before Magdalena's wondering eyes. Sorry, I just noticed you have hard eyes. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just... I guess I must have reacted to what I was reading. I don't know. Henny had often helped Mikey dress and undress, and while Henny had been prone to complimenting her mistress, her eyes had never wandered thus. Magdalena's irises were burning, and Mikey, too, began to shiver. The shivers only increased further still as Magdalena drew in, her fingers seeking out the buttons which ran along the front of her face. "Now, why don't you let me take care of this? It is fiddly work, but I don't much mind. It is well worth it to spend more time with you. I know I tease a lot, but I'm being serious when I tell you this, my dear Mikey. I really did miss spending time with you." Oh my god! It's the... Wait! It's the skip! No! Wait. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna save it here, so after I get the DLC, I can go back to here in private. See what this is all about. God damn. Oh. I was hoping for some more before the fade to black. God. Oh. Okay. Once Mikey was fully dressed and her hair neatly brushed, Magdalena suggested that they go for another walk in the garden, as they had earlier in the week. Mikey, who had been shut up in her room since the brief excursion, agreed swiftly. She had begun to fear, cloistered away as she was, that she might never feel the sunlight upon her face again. Not that there was all that much sunlight to be had, the day being so grey and gloomy. The sun was largely concealed by clouds, its rays tempered by a cool breeze which snaked down the nape of Mikey's neck and the back of her dress. Mikey shuddered upon standing outdoors, goose flesh rippling across her arms. It was not a pleasant day by any stretch of the imagination. At least it wasn't raining, not like last time. That was something to be thankful for. I suppose it was on account of the general unpleasantness and the place which hung in the air that Magdalena had suggested they go outside at all. It had been a bright, sunny sort of a day. It seemed unlikely she would have been able to endure it, even with the aid of her wide-brimmed hat. Helena and Mikey strolled about the garden together for a few minutes. The only sound that of their footsteps. They depressed the tall grass beneath them. These over these overlong fronds of grass brushed against Mikey's ankles, all studded with morning dew, dampening Mikey's socks so she shivered further still. Its lichen-spotted remains looked every bit as grim as Mikey recalled. The fountain itself looked very dull, framed by the cloudy, monotone sky. The whole garden was grey, really, the grass and the dirt and the wildflowers, save for the violent, riotous explosion of bright red offered by Magdalena's favorite rose. Now we have this picture again! It was these roses It was by these roses Magdalena paused, as she had during their last walk. With a small smile, she reached to caress one of the monstrously large roses with the tip of her finger. I always forget how pretty these roses are. I barely even have cause to see them during the daylight. My kind is not known for our affinity to the sun. It does make one forget, however, how lovely the world can look when it isn't smothered in perpetual darkness. I'm starting to feel like I've been missing out. So, humans like you, I suppose. Daylight for girls. Selena glanced over her shoulder, her red eyes finding Mikey's, and smiled wanly. This is how the world has always been for you. Live in a world of warmth and brightness, where everything is bathed in color. I have no idea how fortunate you are. My days weren't as bright as you. I didn't spend my days frolicking outdoors. That is what you're thinking. My mother never would have approved. There was little she did approve often. She a stern disciplinarian then. I can imagine nobody's strict. It was my mother, looking after my best interest. How she loved me. I loved her. Sometimes. Mikey exhaled, feeling lightheaded suddenly at her own confession. She had never spoken of her feelings about her mother to anybody before, not quite this earnestly. He knew Mikey's feelings towards her mother were cool, beyond the veneer of cordiality she extended to the Von matriarch, but Mikey had never once spoken of her bitterness, her anger, or her hurt. She had kept these ugly feelings buried deep inside her, keenly aware of how ungrateful her complaints must have sounded to a woman like Henny. What did Mikey have to complain of when her family was genteel and she lived in a sprawling manor house? Mikey had thought it churlish to bemoan her lot in life. Others were suffering more than she. Children were abandoned on the streets every day by penniless mothers, unable to care for them, or else sold into service. And yet, Mikey had possessed all a young woman could have asked for. She had not been truly happy. Mother had seen that. Part of Mikey hated herself for her unfeeling feelings. She had been unable to help them. She had been harboring these for such a long time. She could no longer remain quiet. The of herself, Brandon came out at the regarded everybody else. She was cruel to servants. She would snap at them for the smallest of things. She often threatened to fire them, though she knew many of them needed the employment. She needed our money. Not that we had much of that. That's all for sure. Their thing that rankled her. She liked to act as though she was responsible. She was more mature than most. Various finance. I think that was why she was so obsessed with appearances. She had little else to do. She who devised my her had by back some of our past wealth, our past prestige. He did not care that I disliked him. I told him my feelings. He told me that I was being selfish. He said that if I truly cared for her and for my family, I would obey. Was I being selfish? I'd always done what she asked. She didn't like that very much. My mother rarely liked what I did. She liked it. I said tried because she slapped me as though I was a naughty girl, though I was over 20 at the time. Cut my cheek with one of her many expensive she refused to pawn no matter how dire our states were. She would rather sell me off than her rings or her fur coats. Then sent me to spent most of the days in my room, staring out my bedroom window. Maybe that's why I'm so head bowed. Good little prisoner. I'd say that I perfected. Though I was never able to skills at embroidery, no matter how much. Never been able to their desired. I've always been lacking. I was too flighty, too stubborn, too thoughtless. Mother often said I was a poor daughter. In those respects, I think I'm quite a lot like her. I made a perfect lesson, at the very least. Poor thing. Magdalena sighed once Mikey had finished her missive, her red eyes shadowy from the brim of her hat. Sounds as though you have suffered too. Not known. Forgive me for speaking so carelessly about your lot in life. It's a bad habit of mine to act like I know it all when I understand very little. I used to be scolded for that myself when you often get into arguments with your mother. Not my mother, no. I rarely had cause to speak to her. I had a figure in my life, quite like your own, Lady Fon. She thought she was very righteous. Righteousness, a weapon. It was an excuse to be as cruel as she wished to those she could put beneath her. It was frightening when my home was sacked, but I was not at all upset when she passed away. I deserved it. Magdalena pulled a face and sighed. Now, why am I speaking of so dreary a subject? I wanted to come out here to cheer myself up. All this melancholia rather defeats the purpose. Sorry. It was Mikey's turn to apologize. Abashed, she bowed her head while brushing a strand of hair behind the shell of her ear. Thought, I've not been able to speak about my mother to anybody before, so when I started, I couldn't stop. Words all came tumbling. Improper. There too. My poor mother has not yet been dead a full month. I feel like I should at least wait a year before her. That sounds like a standard protocol. It's a standard protocol, okay, oh wow. Oh, don't worry your pretty little head about that. I'm glad that you trust me enough to open up to me. Particularly on a matter so personal. I mean, they're definitely building up, like, the whole, like, their relationship here. It's not just, like, out of nowhere kiss, you know? So I like that. I only worry I won't be able to offer an appropriate response in return. I'm still dreadfully tired, you see. Yes, I can see. Magdalena looked wearier than she had during their first stroll about the gardens, and she had fallen asleep on Mikey's shoulder. Magdalena seemed so tired, in fact, it was a wonder she was even able to remain upright. Her left hand had quivered when she reached to brush her fingertips to her favorite roses. I've not been sleeping very much this week. If I was, I would be abed right now, inside my chamber. There can be no rest for the wicked. Is that how the saying goes? Doge, yes. If you're wholly wicked, though. Only partially, then? I don't think anybody in this world is good or bad. They're complicated creatures. Even vampires. Maybe I thought you were a cruel monster at first. I think my initial opinion was unfair. Really? Galena smiled, her red eyes mischievous even despite her evident exhaustion. I'm glad you've since changed your tune, though I do have to wonder why that is. I hope you don't pity me. Still worried for you, maybe. If that's the same thing. Such feelings are cut from the same cloth. As a vampire, I have no need to court the concerns of humans. You're a lowly creature, far beneath the pecking order. Okay. I ought to find your worry insulting, really, but Lena looked now to her feet, uncommonly abashed. She cleared her throat. She'd been a human, Mikey wondered whether she would have blushed, and said, "It has been a long, long while since anybody worried. It almost felt like not entirely unpleasant, I suppose. But I do wish you wouldn't. That your sympathy is wasted upon me. I don't deserve it. While it is true we all have good and bad within us, even monsters, I did kidnap you, and I am holding you a prisoner. I have inflicted almost a dozen wounds upon your poor arm, and I've taken a lot of your blood. I'm making you suffer. You have no reason at all to worry about me. You ought to hate me instead. It's what I deserve. Say that, and you would be correct to. Mikey took a step forth, depressing the scrubby grass beneath her soles, and examined Magdalena, a few inches away from the protective lip of her parasol. Magdalena was still looking to the ground, her eyes obscured in shadows. She was shivering. Mikey did not think this was from the cold. He did not think a vampire like Magdalena could feel the cold. I think he really would. For the sake of it, at least. And what makes you think that? You always look apologetic when you and a few days prior, you said so as much as Aren't you doing this for my mistress. You would be right on that score. I would not be doing this, any of this, had I choice in the matter. But my wants are irrelevant. My mistress is hungry, ravenous even. She has a tendency to violence when I cannot satisfy her. I've been doing her bidding for many years, but I don't believe I've ever once been able to be happy. I don't know if she's capable of feeling such an emotion. She is a selfish creature, and she always demands more from me. I know she cannot help herself, she has her own extenuating circumstances, but it does get wearisome. Forever at the back of a call of a temptuous being like that, even during my afterlife. I had hoped, as a vampire, I might be able to do what I wished for a change. Fate has not been kind to me. If God does exist, which I doubt, he must surely be laughing at my plight. Fuzzy Sussius Nun, how are you? I'm good, how are you, Slimy? Are you still busy? Are you done being busy? Sure he wouldn't. I know that I don't think any of this is funny. Not in the slightest. Well, you wouldn't. You are rather too kind to laugh at the misfortune of others. I sometimes fear my own suffering has been so egregious, however, I feel like laughing at it myself. When I do not wish to cry, of course. Magdalena paused and frowned. She shook her head once more, her eyes darkening, and said, "Oh, listen to me talking so much. I must sound awfully tedious. I mean, I'm working, but I'm on my break." Ah, okay, I see. Oh, good thing a break's happening. I don't think so. Happy to learn more about you. Even though I will kill you one day. So, don't hate me at all. Yes. I suppose you are too busy worrying about me for that, girl that you are. Stupid thing. Magdalena scuffed the ground once more, agitated, then looked to Mikey with intense eyes. Angry kiss, let's go! Oh, this is so unfair. I didn't mean to grow as attached to you as I have, but it's too late to worry about that. I like talking to you, walking with you. Brighten up my dreary home considerably. Why, I even like cooking for you, what you eat, and brewing you tea every morning. I have no desire to kill you, but I fear I must. Satiate it. Does Magdalena have to be so edgy all the time? Yeah, I mean, ow! I think I cut myself. I guess so. She's the edgelord queen, you know. The brooding vampire. She gotta play the part. I've been searching the forest these last few nights, hoping I might have found some stray thieves or bandits I might offer to my mistress in her stead. But I have yet to find so much as a single vagrant. That's kind of weird to me, though, that there are no like other people in the forest that she wouldn't be able to get anyone else? Like, seriously. Europe is not that huge. Linked, probably touched by this proclamation. I supposed it should have been unnerving that Magdalena had been searching for fresh victims instead. She had spent enough time with Magdalena that just such senses had been blunted. It was foolhardy to regard Magdalena as she would a human. Magdalena might have looked as she did, though paler. Her morals were skewed towards those of the undead. To her, humans must have looked like cattle. She ought not to have cared for Mikey at all. She did. Still, Helsing Abridged has the best vampire. I haven't seen any Helsing. I quite like the Castlevania vampires, though. She didn't want to die. It was a sweet sentiment, if nothing else. Have you really been toiling that hard for my sake? I have, indeed, like a blasted ox. Perhaps a mad woman. Say, maybe I have gone mad. I must have, to care for a human this much. To such a degree I'm losing sleep, all for your sake. Huh. Magdalena laughed without humor, her lips curled into a grim simile of a smile. Now, do you understand what I mean when I said that God would help? But I said that God would laugh at me. I've been toiling for your sake, and it's all been in vain. I have nothing to offer my mistress save myself, and my blood ceased to flow a long time ago. I can only bleed if I've recently fed. If I do not, then what runs through my veins might very well be made of ash. Look. Galena removed one of her gloves with an artful flourish, then reached out once more for the rose bushes. This time, however, she did not caress any of the flowers. Instead, she seized one of the slender stems between her fingers, all thorns, and gripped tightly. These thorns would have lacerated a normal person's flesh, bringing forth bright red blood. Magdalena drew away, however. There were only a few droplets of crimson palms, far less than Mikey would have expected. Though her skin had been punctuated from the rose's thorns, she appeared otherwise unharmed. Though she could bleed, she did not bleed as freely as a normal human. Must have been something she had given up many, many years ago. I really am a monster. I have no need for your sympathy, Mikey. If you show me too much kindness, it will poison me. I don't deserve it. She murmured the other woman's name, but it did not sound right upon her tongue. There were too many syllables which seemed to put between them an uncomfortable amount of distance. Mikey paused and tried anew, fingers reaching to cup Magdalena's own scarred ones. No. Mikey looked into Magdalena's red eyes, which seemed uncommonly beautiful, then said, no matter how much I might wish I did, how could I? You've confided so much in me. I know you do not mean to hurt me, even if you do. And that, I think, is enough for me to forgive you. If you stay with me— but if you stay with me, I will kill you. Like mothering vampire aka Alucard, the Crimson Fucker. Well, which Alucard? The... Because don't both shows have Alucard? I'd marry Kirk at Hut, he killed me too, albeit in a slower, more indirect manner. My mother was likewise killing slowly by keeping me shut up inside, but little to distract me save that awful embroidery hoop. Oh, from Helsing. You would like it. Ah, okay. Hurt me every day. A manner of insidious ways. She was supposed to be my mother. She should have put my own first and all else. Never did. I don't know if she was fully aware of how much. If she was, she never apologized. I don't think she understood me half as well as you did. At least you seem to care. Oh, I can't deny that. I do care. Much more than I should. I care so much I fear I care so much I fear I might go insane. The only one. Be insane too. So much of the woman. Tell me. Holy shit, that's good! I can't help how I feel. I've never had much of a life. I've had few in the way of friends. I understand how you feel, having been shut away inside this house for so many years. I've also been horribly lonely. I'm less lonely now that I've met you. All part of me wishes it occurred under better circumstances. I really am glad I met you. I won't hate you, even if you can. I thank you for it, even. You weren't the one holding the knife to mine. Probably have been me. I don't much want to bring my own. I wonder if there was a spicy scene before, since they're kind of like confessing their feelings over here. I don't think they would have slept together before this. So, who knows? Maybe that was just a normal scene cut. Even though it sounded... It seemed kind of too abrupt for this game, because, like, just out of nowhere, Magdalena was saying something, and next sentence was like, ah, yeah, Mikey was all brushed hair and everything, so... I don't know. I'm too cowardly for that. I don't much like the pain. I'd rather you do it. Way, at my own conscience. When I do die, I might be able. Oh, why is she laying down? Okay, well. I thought they would kiss, but I guess not. It wasn't until later that night that Magdalena paid a second visit to Mikey's bedchamber, carrying with her a ceramic bowl and a sharp-bladed knife. Mikey had been lying abed when Magdalena arrived, attired in her nightgown. I've only just seen the love heart eyes. I was getting ready for the kiss, man! I was getting excited, but I guess nothing. It was late enough that she had wondered whether Magdalena had forgotten about their nightly ritual, but evidently not. She had endured these sessions with Magdalena numerous times, and now knew what to expect from them. Magdalena did not even need to ask Mikey to present the inside of her arm this time. Mikey did so without complaint, though she still winced when Magdalena pressed the blade of her knife against her. Sorry, Magdalena said softly. So softly Mikey could have feigned deafness if she wished, while steadying her hand. I don't wish to hurt you, though I know my very little. Well, if you're getting freaky, I'm leaving. I don't think they are getting freaky. Not an oh, the pain that I'm making. They're utterly. Galena's expression twisted. She collected Mikey's blood, fingers trembling all the while. Mikey's blood soon stained the ceramic, bright enough to be garish during the otherwise state, I think. Magdalena must have cut more deeply this time, because her wound burned more intensely. Her blood spilled more freely. During their other sessions, Mikey's blood would emerge almost shyly, two anxious drops forming about the thin, hairline cuts Magdalena inflicted upon her. It was not so tonight, however. So much blood, Mikey's bedroom began to stink of it. stench of blood combated the other unpleasant Mikey often had to contend with. Those of dust and mold and neglect. Still, it was all Mikey could smell. She could taste it too, in the back of her throat, when she swallowed. The air seemed to have taken on the tang of copper. Mikey's wound stung as Magdalena squeezed, feeding it more blood from within her. Mikey winced, bit the inside of her cheek in an attempt to stop herself from gasping. She did not want to cry out, not when Magdalena looked so tense already. She did not want Magdalena to feel guilty about hurting her. But surely that was foolish. Magdalena, as her tormentor, ought to have felt guilty about the pain which she was inflicting on Mikey. Mikey had no obligations to worry about Magdalena's feelings, whatever they might have been, and yet... Right. I think that ought to be enough. Magdalena took a handkerchief from her pocket and dabbed at Mikey's wound. Lukewarm water against her skin stung, and Mikey had to bite the inside of her cheek again. Harder this time, to stop another encroaching sound of distress. Mikey counted to three inside her head, trying to soothe herself before she spoke. What is it? I just want to tell you. Oh. Mikey yawned. Oh. Oh! And leaned back against her pillow. Magdalena was still dabbing at her arm and at her wound. All of a sudden, she felt too drained to remain upright. All of her strength had voided her body, leaving her an empty shell. She always felt exhausted after having her blood drained, but this exhaustion settled upon her even more heavily tonight. Oh, makes sense if she gave more blood. Mikey's arms and legs felt leaden, her fingers and toes going numb. She could barely curl them, though she tried. Her breathing was regular, but shallow. Still, the air tasted of blood. Mikey might have felt terrible, but she did not blame Magdalena for her plight. If anything, she pitied her. She spoke softly, her eyes affixed upon Magdalena's, unblinking despite her fatigue. Magdalena drew back, clutching her blood-splattered handkerchief in one hand, frowned. What could you possibly have to thank me for? Don't tell me I've taken so much blood your thoughts are growing addled. Perhaps they are. But I'm not so confused I don't understand my own feelings. I know that you're considerate to seek given the circumstances. Considerate? Magdalena laughed, though it was without humor. And I know that you hurt me. You're trying to console me as best as you can. I'm trying, yes, but... Oh, Mikey. Magdalena gripped the handkerchief hard, crumpling it in her right fist. It was still damp with Mikey's blood, not that there was much of it. Magdalena had been thorough in emptying Mikey's veins into her bowl. Little blood which did stain Magdalena's handkerchief, however, soon stained Magdalena's palm in turn, discipling her dark glove burgundy. How can you say that to me? Do you mean to hurt me? What? No, I would never. Yes, I know you would never. You're a good, kind woman, unlike myself. You're so very kind, in fact, you would seek to sympathize with a monster like me. I am hurting you. Surely you must be able to feel it. Still, place my feelings over your own. Don't understand how you can do it. How can you bear to thank me after all I have done to you? If I didn't know you better, I would think you were trying to make me feel guilty. Oh, Lena. I have no desire to make you feel guilty. It would be a pointless enterprise. Why would I bother when I know that you feel guilty already? Lena stiffened at this. She pocketed her bloodied handkerchief, perhaps to stop her anxious hand from rendering it into ground. Yes, you're quite right. I do feel guilty about this, yet I fail to see what that will accomplish. My guilt hasn't stopped me from hurting you. I have to go back to work. Okay, Slimy, hope you have a good time at work, or a decent time, at least. It is a worthless emotion that exists only to satisfy my own ego. I'd like to believe I'm not wicked, so I cling to my guilt. It proves, at least in some sense. I still have a sense of it. I'm still a human, in part. No ordinary human would inflict suffering like this upon another. Eh! Eh! It's all posturing. I don't think it is. How can you be posturing? Maybe I am, but what does it matter? As long as no one punches me on the shift, I'm good. Oh my god, okay, well, I hope no one punches you then. I work security, by the way. Ah, okay, yeah, then, I hope you have a calm night, I guess, or... yeah. It matters to me. I would hate... I would hate you if you could... I mean, I can see that you don't. I fucking hope so. See ya! See ya, Slimy! Thank you for stopping by! This is hurting you, too. In fact, I think it hurts you more than it does. I don't know all the particulars, but you'd be doing this with choice. Mikey took Magdalena's hand in her own and, she said in an imploring voice. Right? Is that what you think? Magdalena sighed wretchedly, but did not try to pull away from Mikey. Instead, she leant in, squeezing Mikey's hand in return, before elaborating. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mikey, but I'm not the hopeless victim you seem to believe. I do have a choice in this. I always have. It's my own foolish fault that I chose, and continue to choose. Poor one. Oh wow. Interesting. I don't have to hurt you. I don't have to do anything. If I wanted, I could wash my hands of this farce and far away. Put all this bloodshed behind me, but... Can't though, you see, could. You have your mystery about. Indeed, I do. Well, I could leave her. I would not wish to. Be hopeless without me. Can't look after herself. Somebody to sustain her. I just so happen to be that unfortunate somebody. I procure victims for her, and I keep her fed, but I'm afraid it is not enough for her. I think I might even be afraid of her. Oh god. Magdalena's expression twisted. Must sound so pathetic. Mikey thought of the lurid marks she had seen on Magdalena's arms. A riot of red circles, like full-headed flowers, and winced in sympathy with her. I don't think you're pathetic, Lena. You've been trying very, very hard for a very, very long time. I think you need somebody to console. Perhaps I'm wrong to feel this way, and perhaps I'm being presumptuous. You can scold me if you want. I'll relent. Oh my gosh! Let's go! Why is there a butterfly wing on her cape thingy? Ow. Overwhelmed with sympathy, Mikey leaned in and wound her arms about Magdalena. Oh, you have me. Something's the matter. I would like to help. What about you? I don't want to see you upset. Mikey. Oh, Mikey. Magdalena sniffed, her eyelashes trembling. Her shoulders began to relax, her body training of tension. Even as it did, she murmured, "Then have to pity me. I have no need of the sympathy of a mere human. Clearly not, when that human is one of my victims. You should be cowering away from me, holding me closer." I should. But, as my mother always said, never known this for me. She arranged life for me. Still, now that she is no more, I think I ought to do what I want for a change. I'm tired of listening to other people. You won't even listen. I will, if you wish me to. You can push me away if you like. I thought it might. I don't know if there's anything you can do to help me, Mikey. You or anybody else. The only person who can help me. Me. Elena sighed. I ought to tell you to keep your distance, and yet... Yet... It has been a long time since I was last embraced. It feels... very nostalgic. Relenting, Magdalena leaned forth, then rested her own chin upon Mikey's chest, wherein her heart continued to beat. Can't believe this. Taking solace in the arms of a woman of all things. I thought I was stronger than this. You are strong. Must be. I've endured so very much for so long. Alone. But everybody has their limits. Yes, you might be right about that. I think I hit my limit a long while ago. I've been trying to soldier on. Mistress needs me after all, but... Oh god. I can't even cry, but I'm still shaking. What is the matter with me? I must look utterly foolish. I already told you aren't. Are you sure? Well, maybe a little. Mikey laughed softly, which procured from Magdalena an offended, "Hey! But I don't like you any less for it. In fact, I think I might like you. It's nice. There are more than meets the eye. I knew there was more than the aloof, dignified vampire. Might not be a human. I don't think you're feeling. Oh, if only." Selena drew back from Mikey, though still her arms were looped around the other woman. Holding her close, she looked into Mikey's face and said, "You're too kind, Mikey. If you keep acting as you are, I'll have second or third thoughts about harming you further. You don't deserve any of this. I wish I could save you, but... It's fine. You saved me once before, remember? If it weren't for your timely intervention, both Henny and I would have been slaughtered by the bandits. You saved me. How could I not love you after that?" Love? Mikey. Magdalena's ruby red eyes widened, and abashed, she looked away. I had the blood to blush. My face would be pink right now. I'm not embarrassing you, Em. You are, horribly so. And you're perplexing me too. You're a foolish girl, do you know that? Sympathy towards me is an unwarranted, not to mention all this cloying, sickly kindness. I'm drowning in it. Your trust in me is going to get you killed one day. One day soon, in fact. It's killing you already. I know. And I don't. I said that earlier when we were in the garden. But you really mean that? Every word. Right now, I only care about... Well, read the proclamation. If I did not know any better, perhaps I would take it as a confession. Oh! Perhaps I want you to take it like that. Maybe. No, at the very least, that I don't hate you. I've grown. Quite fond of you, in fact. We're together. Starts to be... Well, you might... But I can. Yes, that for myself. His eyes trailed across the corners of Mike's face, marveling at how delicate her mouth, along her lashes, how flushed like freshly picked primrose skin. What blood Magdalena had not drained from Mikey seemed to be resting beneath the surface of her cheeks, warming them, heat exuding from her like that of a flickering flame. She looked so very enticing. I hardly knew what she was doing, even as she pressed two fingers beneath Mikey's chin. Raising her head thus, her eyes meeting once more, Magdalena said, "You really are an idiot. But if you wish, be my idiot. Right? something that might at least make me happy. Bye, Mike. Kisses! Magdalena dipped her head as though compelled by a powerful magnetism. Sought out Mikey's mouth with her own. Oh, they're so cute! Her cloak fell from her shoulders as she leaned in, feeling just how slender Magdalena, how delicate as her palms found Mikey's. Her fingers pressed together, their eyelids falling shut as they indulged in one another. It was Mikey's very first kiss, and it was not as her mother had been, and it was not as her mother had designed what Walter had. Magdalena's lips were cold, as was her skin. Mikey shivered against her. This was not what Mikey had imagined over the years when she'd been sequestered away inside her parents' old home. Many times Mikey had wondered what her first kiss might be like. Had imagined ghostly scores of them as she lay in her bed at night, looking out of the window. Never before had a woman like Magdalena factored into Mikey's fantasy, with white skin and red eyes and a heart which did not beat. This was not at all what Mikey had anticipated. Felt even better. Okay, let's save another one here in case there's anything fun over here. Right. Mikey laid in bed later that night, not long after Magdalena had left her, a ghostly vision in white upon red sheets. She lay back upon her thin, aged pillows, her hair fanning outwards like a halo. Though she felt tired, sleep remained nothing but a distant dream. Images of the day past and all she had done with Magdalena flickered before her open eyes, ghostly images in a phenakist something scope that I don't know what it is. Mikey saw Magdalena holding her breakfast tray, a small smile upon her lips. Magdalena reaching to brush her hair behind one ear, her sleeve down to reveal her bruised arm. Magdalena standing in the rose garden, her head bowed. She saw Magdalena too. She had been while pressing a knife against the inside of her wrist, her red eyes full of guilt. And later, Magdalena, with her pale eyelashes sewn shut, her lips pressed against Mikey's own. That had been Mikey's first ever kiss. He had not been so intimate with Walter, though he had been her fiancé. Not that Mikey saw this as any great loss. The thought of kissing Walter, or any man for that matter, had always turned Mikey's stomach. Oh my gosh, she's been a lesbian since forever. She had liked reading stories, but romance scenes had left her. Mikey had thought she would be happy if she never had to kiss a man, and that belief still stood. Magdalena might have been a woman, a vampire besides, but kissing her had felt right. Even now, long after their lips parted, Mikey could remember how it had felt. Her lips throbbed with phantom kisses, blood pooled in her cheeks. She pressed one hand to her chest, fingers splayed, and sighed. She knew not how she would go to sleep now. Thoughts raced through her mind. She feared as she lay there, the darkness pressing in upon her, that she would never sleep again. Magdalena had stolen her ability to rest, just as surely as she had stolen away her heart. Mikey lay abed that night, trying to sleep. Magdalena sat at the bedside of another, holding in her hand a dish filled with bright red. Here you are, my miss. Magdalena referred the dish to a figure who lay upon the bed before her expression one of fearful recurrence. I procured it a brief while ago. Here I tarried a while to see. It might have gone cold. It is still fresh, though, and its flavor should not be compromised. I hope it is to your taste. The shadowy figure rose, the metallic chains which bound her clinking, then shifted forth. Nostrils, nostrils twitched, savoring the scent of the blood in the dish before she brought her tongue to it, her red lips parting like an awful sore. Magdalena tried not to wince as her mistress pressed her tongue to the quivering meniscus of Mikey's gathered blood, nor when the damp, wet sounds of her supping filled the room. The sound of the mistress's beating was interspaced only with the blowing breeze outside, as it rattled against the window panes. It sounded sad and mournful, but seemed rather appropriate. Magdalena had never much enjoyed these beating sessions with her mistress. She enjoyed it rather less now. Why doesn't she just like down it like from a glass? Why is she like drinking it like a cat? Like that's what the sounds feel like. It was hard for her to remain emotionless. Prescient whatever figure carved from marble. Wouldn't that be a Greek figure? And she knew so intimately the woman whose blood filled the dish. She did not wish to exploit Mikey further, or to hurt her. She could hardly bear the burden of her wicked deeds. It weighed heavier and heavier upon her shoulders, which they had passed, but what was she to do? If she did not bleed Mikey, her mistress would suffer in turn. Her mistress, that she was, needed somebody to look after her. She had no way of procuring blood on her own. Had Magdalena not provided for her throughout the years, she would have been long dead. Sometimes, Magdalena thought this might be be for the best. Those thoughts seemed wicked, and they made Magdalena shudder. She could not abandon her mistress, no matter how onerous caring for her had become. I wonder if the mistress is the one that she spoke about, that she compared to Mike. They were alike, she and her mistress, birds of a feather. Society would shun them, both for being a pair of misfits. They were both monsters. Magdalena's mistress was the only creature like her she knew of. She was all which stopped Magdalena from being utterly alone, and all which had granted her a purpose. Magdalena had vowed when first they returned she would protect her. I was willing to become the wickedest of villainous for you. I have debased myself, committed vile act after act, and for a while, I thought my humanity forfeit. Magdalena sighed, her lips pursed as heedless as always of her words continued to drink. But I fear I must be killed many, many men without thinking. Thought of killing Mikey. Magdalena sighed again, a sigh which seemed to issue forth from her chest, but from a shadowy recess inside her. And she exhaled, actually, left her almost breathless. I don't know if I can do it, but even for make you happy, dear one. But if the price of your happiness is my Mikey's life, that seems like too steep a price to pay. Wow. If I keep going as I am, there's something inside me might break. If it has not been broken already, that is. Unable to face her mistress or herself, Magdalena let her eyelids fall closed. Her lashes melted together, long and spiky, like albino spider's legs. She did not cry, felt phantom tears prickling her eyes regardless. Sobs she could not make racking her slender shoulders. All the while, her mistress continued to sup, as a cat might. Her pointed tongue lapped Mikey's blood, her head bobbing back and forth. Her mistress was, in many respects, like a pet. Eating always contented her, but eventually she would show her claws. Selena had been on the receiving end of claws more times than she could count. Her arms were littered with bruises, for all thanks she received for her labor. Aiding her young mistress had never been the most thankful tasks. Magdalena had persevered. Young mistress. Looking after her mistress, Magdalena's only purpose in life for an eye on century. It had been her only reason to keep going. Now, however... Oh, I wish you knew. Oh, I wish you knew what I was about. I wish you could understand how I feel. I wish that none of this had ever happened to me. Especially not to you. You never deserved any of this. My poor, dear Crystal. Ooh, who's Crystal? Late at night, the moon round and full, when Henny ventured into the woods, Johan and Heidemarie and Tao. The woods were every bit as eerie and inhospitable as Henny remembered from her wandering weeks prior. The boughs of trees were curled like claws, as though meaning to grab her, and the uneven floor was strewn with loose leaves, twisted roots, and creepy fog. It was a cold, windy night, and the breeze which ran through the boughs of these skeletal trees seemed almost to sob. The breeze nipped at Henny's fingers, and at the hem of her sensible, black maid's dress, so she shivered. Henny knew where Magdalena's home was, more or less. She had been in such a state as she ran away from it, she felt disoriented. Makes sense. The forest was full of tall, skinny trees. It was hard for her to get her bearings. She hoped only that she was right in her recollections, as her footsteps were leading her closer to Mikey's side rather than further. Please, Mikey, please, Henny prayed silently, her soles depressing the twigs and leaves beneath her. Be safe. That's all I ask.
Well, isn't this a beautiful night?
Heidemarie spoke in casual tones that belied the seriousness of their situation. As they walked, she, for her part, seemed quite at her ease. Though perhaps that was because, as a vampire, she was accustomed to the stillness of the night. Certainly, she would have preferred it over the heat of the light and the light of the day.
The moon is so lovely. Yet... Oh? But of course, werewolves aren't the only beings who undergo significant changes during the full moon. It also imbues us vampires with strength.
Heidemarie flexed her fingers, extending them as pianist might before setting them down to play a symphony.
For a being who has been dead for so many centuries, I feel quite alive. I'm positive with excitement. It's been a long, long while since I had a job to do.
Heidemarie's lips split into a grin wide enough to reveal her incisors. They glistened at the front of her mouth, sharper and more deadly than needles.
I hope it doesn't disappoint. I'll be upset if this Magdalena does not put up a fight.
Now, Heidemarie. We didn't come out here to have fun. Frau Henrique wishes for our help, so we must do all we can to do to aid her. It's serious. A woman's life may be on the line.
Well, of course I know that. I'm aware that this will be a delicate operation, but I think that makes this even more entertaining. It's been a terribly long time since I got to rescue any fair maidens. I do so love being a brave, noble hero, so I must give you a few words of advice, Fräulein. There is a chance that your beloved mistress may already have departed from the world of mortals.
Oh, he stiffened at this, and Johan's disapproving frown deepened. Heidemarie, please, be more considerate.
By that, you mean ply her with false reassurances?
No, I just...
Such sweet lies might come easily to you, Johan, but they don't sit right with me. I might be a deprived monster, but I don't like to deceive people.
I don't deceive people. I spread the word of God.
And you truly believe in the eventual reckoning and salvation and heaven?
Yes, of course I do. You know I do. I wouldn't preach of such matters if I didn't. Heidemarie pressed her lips together before eventually capitulating.
Yes, I suppose you're right. You've always been an awful goody two-shoes. You're not a liar either, Johan, though you're misguided in your optimism. I know you wish only to think of the most positive potential outcome, but life often does not work out as we might want.
Heidemarie looked again to Henny, one arm resting on her hip. Sorry I'm late, book mom, but busy day, and I'm starting to feel a bit sick. No, Kyul! I'm so sorry to hear that. Um, eat some vitamins and drink some tea, and I hope you can, like stop getting the sick, And it's good to see you. How you doing other than that? Will do. Yes, good, good.
Powerful though I am, I'm not privy to everything that happens in Augsburg's vicinity. I cannot say for certain that your mistress will be unscathed. Though I'm certain I'll be able to dispatch with this Magdalena in due course, it might be too late for your mistress. Please come to terms with that during our travels. It will save you a lot of unnecessary grief later.
Well, I suppose you have no ill intention by saying this. Being okay, very EP will persist. Ah, can you take a nap or something? At some point in the day? Or maybe just sleep early, or just chillax kind of thing. Johann clicked his tongue while Heidemarie tittered. But you don't need to sound half so gleeful while phrasing your concern. It makes one doubt how genuine you're being.
You think I'm not being genuine?
You rarely are. You're a menace.
Oh, woe is me.
Heidemarie staggered back dramatically, one hand pressed to her breast, as though she had been mortally wounded. Had Henny not been so tense, perhaps she would have smiled at Heidemarie's antics. As it was, however, she found herself incapable of seeing the funny side in the young girl's capering. Her thoughts were full of Mikey to pay the mischievous Heidemarie much heed. She knew Heidemarie had a point, but her Mikey could very well be dead, but Henny did not wish to come to terms with such a possibility. Sure can. I don't know why I didn't think of a nap until now. Exactly! You can, kinda get rejuvenated from that little nap. If Mikey was dead. Oh, if Mikey was dead. Oh, Henrique. Johann, who spoke next after the pause, rent by Heidemarie's warning, voice softer and gentler than the moonlight. I know, Heidemarie, callously. She does have a point. There is no guarantee we'll be able to save your mistress. But if her heart beats still, then Heidemarie and I will do all in our power to save her. Rest assured on that score. Please, place your faith in us. I would never seek to betray your trust, not when you made the effort of seeking us out as you did.
Yes, Johann's right. There's a damsel to rescue, she shall, of course, be rescued. And if she's a corpse, well, we'll simply have to pay her our respects. Either way, you'll get the closure that you want. By the time this night is up, we will know exactly what has happened to your beloved Mikey. Thank you. I don't know how Mikey has been faring or what state she may be in when we find her. But I suppose I'll find out soon enough, before the night comes to a close. Everything be sorted then, one way or another. Better of course. Yes, that is a good way of looking at it. Oh. Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. It best not get your hopes up too much.
Heidemarie giggled to herself anew, as a young girl might, while Henny continued to trip. I know that word, but I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Through the woods. Why did I say it like that? Oh my god. She had been walking for almost an hour now, and could feel the chill air growing colder as it settled about her shoulders like a shroud. Henny shivered, winding her arms about herself, and thought about Mikey. If Mikey was alive, she supposed she would be asleep right now, perhaps in the very same cell she and Henny had once played Joker in. Henny hoped Magdalena had been giving Mikey enough to eat, but she doubted it. Magdalena had not, for all her pretensions, been the most hospitable of hosts. Oh, Henny, you don't even know. They are smooching right this very second. Henny could only pray, with each footstep she took, Mikey had been able to endure all her suffering. She was a strong person, far stronger than her fair skin and delicate features suggested. Henny could still remember how, when they had been children, Mikey had confessed to her mother that it had been she who had first hit upon the bright idea to enter the family's mausoleum, she who should be punished rather than Henny. Mikey had always come to Henny's defense, heedless of what might happen to her. And he had always admired Mikey for her sense of justice. He thought her good, honest, and unwavering. Now, Henny meant to display similar qualities for Mikey's sake. Henny continued to walk on, the top of her head illuminated by the milky moonlight. Foliage rustled about her, and overhead an owl hooted. Fog swirled about her ankles, so thick Henny could hardly see where she was going. Henny's eyes were not golden like Heidemarie's, but of an ordinary human, and they were unaccustomed to the gloom. Henny stumbled several times while walking, and Johann had to support her. Normally, Henny would have thanked Johann for his consideration, but she was so focused upon her task that she hadn't the words to spare for him. Every beat of her heart seemed to call out Mikey's name, her every thought laced with her dear friend, and of her fate. Henny knew it was a possibility that she might be too late, but she soon discarded it. Mikey would be fine. She had to be fine. Henny still had hope. It swelled within her, growing stronger and stronger, the closer she drew to Magdalena's home. Henny kept going, placing one foot after the other in a grim march until...
Ah, yes. Must be on the right track. I can smell it now.
How did I do it? Why do I always have problems with... I always have problems with Henny's voice after I do Heidemarie's.
Well, what? Death.
Heidemarie's answer was a simple one, yet it made Henny shudder all the same.
Vampires often cloak their abodes in magic, but these parlor tricks only work on mundane creatures such as humans. To a fellow vampire like myself, such enchantments are mere child's play. Try though we might, we vampires cannot hide from one another. The stench of death is much too strong. The soil beneath our feet is soaked with blood. When I strain my ears, I can hear the screams of her victims in the air. Must be very, very close indeed.
Marie smiled, her incisors razor sharp in the gloom, which swelled about her.
Now, I must prepare myself for coming face to face with this young vampire. I would hate to look a mess.
Oh, read the third act! Let's go! A Maid and Her Mistress, Act 4. It took Mikey almost a full hour before she was finally able to drift off that night, lulled into the world of slumber by the stirring of the breeze beyond her bedroom window. In her dreams, Mikey saw herself and Magdalena as she wished they were, smiling, arms linked, like a pair of ordinary women. In this dream, Mikey was not the sole daughter of the once noble von Essence, and Magdalena was not a vampire. They were both young ladies from moderately well-to-do families, both young and fresh-faced, with no outside pressures forcing them to wed. In this dream, Mikey and Magdalena were of alike age, equals who had formed a fast friendship. Together, they would promenade about their families' estates, play cards, and help one another with their hair. Flipped through fashion magazines, offered helpful critique upon one another's clothes, and often, during quiet moments, they would sit together and devour books like sweets. They would read plays and poems and prose, and once they had finished with their tomes, they would talk about them to one another excitedly. Yeah, they're nice, you definitely see why they like each other. Nobody condemned their friendship, and nobody sought to come between the pair of them. Henny gladly gave Mikey and Magdalena her blessing, as did their parents. Mikey's mother, in her dream, was not the exacting Lady von Essen, but another woman altogether, a woman kinder and more accepting, who did not smack books from Mikey's hands, nor revile her for being too willful. Mikey even dared, in this dream, to pursue with her fictional Magdalena a relationship deeper than that of close friends. There were covetous glances and brushing fingers out in public, arms linked with heads dipped just a little too close when they shared secrets. Jules' winky face. No, it's a teary face. In private, meanwhile, between their reading of books and their girlish chatter, they came even closer together until... But Mikey knew these dreams could never come to pass. She was tormenting herself by indulging in a fantasy which would not be realized. But still, she continued to dream. She did not want to give her fantasies up. How could she? Mikey had been lonely for most of her life, and she was tired of denying her heart what it wanted. The longing stares. Yeah, they have kissed, by the way. In real life. She was smoldering. Mikey turned beneath her covers, lost amongst her wonderful, impossible, painful dreams when the sound of a scream awoke her. Distant, loud enough to penetrate her bedroom door. Mikey sat up with a start, her mind jumbled. One hand flew to her chest, fingers splayed, beneath which her heart beat wildly, caught between waking. Screaming continued, high and hopeless. It was hard to gauge who owned the voice, but Mikey thought it belonged to a woman? Hamter, 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 yeah, look. Behold! This smooching. Hell yeah! Exactly. Is it Magdalena? Had she been caught off guard? Her home laid waste? Yuri solves all problems. Exactly! This is some delicious angsty Yuri though. Like, some scenes might be going on for so long that I don't think are necessary, but the angsty Yuri is like really good. Mikey knew not what kind of creature could make a vampire scream. Must have been a frightening one. Trembling, Mikey rose from her bed and dashed barefoot to her bedroom door. Took the handle between her fingers and tried it. She was soon scuppered. The door, as always, was locked. Mikey took a step back, fingers clenched at her front, deliberating. How was she to escape? Force was an option, she supposed. She was not very strong herself, but Magdalena's home was ancient. Everything was crumbling. The lock must have some give in it. Enough to be sprung, perhaps, by her shoulder if she applied enough force. Maybe she could try to jimmy the lock with a more elegant method. Maybe a hairpin? Mikey had several, which she kept in a ceramic tray by her bedside, which she used to style her hair. Mikey had never tried to pry open a door with such an inelegant method before. She had broken into the family's mausoleum all those years ago. She had simply stolen a set of keys. It seemed imperative to try, however. If Magdalena was being hurt, then Mikey wanted to protect her. Mikey knew she could not simply stand idle and do nothing. Mikey padded to her bedside and lit the candle, which sat there with trembling hands. She selected a hairpin from the dish tray by her bedside for the job. Stretching it tight in her hand, she then started back for the door. Mikey paused by the door, making it slide the slender... Making to slide the slender pin into the lock, but her attempts at escape soon proved to be unnecessary. The door opened outwards, creaking as it did, before she had a chance to make use of the hairpin. There was somebody standing in the entrance of Mikey's bedchamber. Somebody that Mikey knew well, despite the darkness which swirled in the hallway. It was Henny! Ah, Mistress and her maid together again is the achievement name.
Oh, Mikey, thank goodness! I'm so glad to see you're alright.
Henny threw herself towards Mikey. Before Mikey had a chance to speak and tightly wound her arms about her mistress's waist. Why are there flowers over here? The hairpin Mikey had grasped now fell from her hands, her fingers falling slack. It hit the threadbare carpet, and there it lay, illuminated by spots of light which crept in through the worn curtains drawn about the windows. Light lit Henny's face too, or half of it, and Mikey could see tears beating upon her lashes. Mikey didn't think them tears of sadness, however. They looked, instead, to be born of relief. It had been almost a month since Mikey had seen Henny last. Now they had finally been reunited. It was all so sudden and so very unexpected, it still did not feel real. Mikey wondered whether this was not a continuation of her dream, now taking on a different bent, but it seemed unlikely. Henny's body was soft, as Mikey remembered, but it was unyielding as it pressed against her grip too tight to be made of fancy. Mikey had read a good number of books in her time, but her imagination was hardly good enough to conjure up a scene this vivid. Truly was Henny in the flesh come to rescue her, just as she had promised. Henny! Oh, Henny! Oh, Henny! Mikey began to sob herself from both surprise and relief. She returned Henny's embrace, resting her head upon her shoulder, and for a while neither woman spoke. They only stood there in the entrance of Mikey's bedroom and sobbed, clinging tight, as though their lives depended on it. The screams, however, did not abate. A fresh volley of piercing cries made Mikey's body stiffen. Concerned, she drew back, and looking at Henny, said, "What are you doing here? How did you get here? Did you do something to Lena?"
There's no time to explain right now. First, we need to escape.
Escape? Where?
Outside. Hurry, Mikey, before she catches us.
Mikey's brow furrowed. About Lena?
I mean that monster, yes. Ida Marie's holding her back, but I don't want to hang around while they settle matters. I've spent more than enough time around monsters to last me a lifetime. And I bet you have too. Oh, it was horrible, Mikey. Things I've seen tonight, trying to save you. I don't want to dwell on it. It doesn't matter. Come on, let's go. But I'm not dressed. I can't wander around the woods in my nightgown. Not barefoot. I need some shoes at least. Then wait, please, Mikey. Let's hurry. You need to run. But...
Tried to protest, but Henny refused to listen. She doesn't want to leave her girlfriend. Squeezed Mikey's hand in her own and turned, pulling her through the hallway and away from her bedchamber. Away from her. Away from her life with Magdalena. Mikey called after Henny, bidding her to stop, but Henny did not listen. She continued instead to run, her soul slapping against stones. Mikey tried to twist her arm free from her friends, but she hadn't power for it. Magdalena had taken too much of her blood that night, and it had left her weak. As had the kiss, and then the caresses which had followed afterwards. The caresses that we did not see! Mikey had always been thinner than Henny, but her coloring more delicate, but in that moment, Henny's strength seemed indomitable. This must have been the measure, Mikey supposed, of how greatly Henny cared for her. But oh, while Mikey was glad to see Henny, she did not wish to leave Magdalena's side. Not like this. If she was to leave, she at least wanted to speak to her once more. Tell her what had happened. Mikey tried to dig her feet against the cold floor, but it was to little avail. Henny responded only by exerting more pressure upon her hand. She was gripping Mikey's fingers hard enough to hurt. Hard enough, Mikey feared she might be.
We need to keep going. We're almost there. Just a little further.
Henny tried to console Mikey, but her comforting voice fell upon deaf ears. Mikey's attention had been taken, not by Henny's rescue attempt, or her own concern for Magdalena, but by a door thrown ajar a few paces away. Mikey had not been inside any rooms in Magdalena's home save her own. She could not help but to cast a curious glance at its interior. Let's see, let's see! The room was dark, curtains drawn, yet Mikey could make out several shadowy shapes with. There was an armoire, an escritoire, and an impressive. Oh, is that oaken-hewn bed? Not so very different from the one in Mikey's room. Whoosh. There was one factor, however, which differentiated the room in which Mikey had stayed from this one, and that was the chains looped about the headboard. chains which glinted in the dappled moonlight ended in manacles, sealed tight about the limbs of a creature which no longer stirred. Yeah, that is a blade in her heart, huh? The creature which laid upon the bed had 2 slender arms and 2 slender legs, and it wore upon its body a gown which might once have been fine, but now was hopelessly tattered. Its legs were bare, and it wore no shoes. Hair long and dark was matted about its face, eyes closed, as if in slumber. Mikey could tell it was a small creature, thin lying down, a good head shorter than herself, far skinnier. Why, Mikey realized with a gasp. The creature was not a creature at all. It was a girl, and a very young girl at that. She could not have been much more than 4 or 5 years of age. Aww. She was still a veritable infant, an innocent child. Aww. And she was dead. Somebody had driven a decorative blade into her chest so deep its pointed tip threatened to pin her to the mattress upon which she lay. I think Magdalena did that, not Haida Marie. A single rivulet of red ran from the girl's mouth, staining her alabaster skin. Her arms and legs were bent at awkward angles, as if they had been hopeless. Mikey! Henny turned to look at her friend, fearful of what she had spied, and, upon seeing her harried expression, winced. Please don't look at it. It will only upset you. God knows it. It's upset me enough. Haida Marie do that, but it had to be done. Oh, Haida Marie did do that. Damn. She wasn't human, Mikey. Mikey could see that well enough. What with how horribly pale that girl was. But still, she grieved for her. She couldn't overlook how very young the girl was. How fragile she looked. It seemed a gross cruelty to treat the child so. I'm back, Lux. Hey, Slimy! Who could have killed her so callously? Mikey's stomach churned. She heaved. Then, with bitter, acrid tears beating in her eyes. Mikey! Mikey turned her head and vomited all over the stone floor. Sorry, it's Slimy, it's getting like really serious over here. Mikey felt woozy after ejecting the contents of her stomach upon the floor, yet hadn't the time to properly regain her bearings. While sympathetic, Henny was anxious to keep moving. After consoling Mikey soon took hold of her hand again. Sorry, Mikey, but we really have to run. Can't stay here, not any longer. I need to get you to safety. A thing happened. Manager had to go, so I'm in charge of the cameras. Oh my gosh, you can play Five Nights at Freddy's! And not get punched! Hopefully. Unless something comes out of a ventilation shaft. Fuck you! Maggie would have argued if she could that she felt perfectly safe with Magdalena. It could not. There was a sharp, sour taste at the back of her throat, inhibited all words. And in any event, she knew the words she wanted to speak were untrue. Five Nights at Freakies? Yeah! She was not safe with Magdalena. How could she be when the other woman had caused her so many wounds? Oh, okay, yeah. That was an insult, don't get any ideas, looks like I have standards! I'm sorry! She continued to stay with Magdalena. It seemed inevitable that she would die. Henny knew this too, and had traveled all this way to rescue her. Yet, though Mikey appreciated, an ungrateful part of her wished she had not bothered. Mikey had already made peace with the thought of dying. He had made peace with it long ago, before Magdalena had taken her a prisoner, even. She had always been a captive in some form or another, unable to say what was on her mind or do what she truly wanted. Living with her parents had been no true life. It had been a hollow, empty existence, dirty living. It had been too full of waiting, all without consequence, for it to mean anything. Becky had never truly lived at all, not in all her 25 years. This had only changed after meeting Magdalena. Magdalena meant to kill her, but at least her company had lent Mikey's pitiful existence a sense of purpose. Mikey didn't want to leave her. She couldn't leave her. Mikey knew not how to communicate this to Henny. He did not think Henny would understand, regardless of how close they were. How could she? Henny had witnessed Mikey's loneliness for herself, with her own eyes, over the course of many years. But she knew not just how it had hurt Mikey, wearing her down until death began to seem preferable to the purgatory she found herself in. She had no idea. She thought she was saving Mikey, but in actual fact, she was only wrenching her away from all it was she cared for. What would she do, Mikey wondered, if Henny really was able to liberate her from Magdalena's abode? Where would she go? To Augsburg, she supposed. To marry Walter Gerhardt, as her parents had planned. But that was too horrible a fate to contemplate. Mikey would rather have died. Would rather have died with Magdalena. Damn, okay. Angsty much.
Come on, Mikey. Just a bit further.
Henny led Mikey into the entrance hall of Magdalena's vast, empty shell of a room, which might once have been grand, but now was choked with dust. Mikey took in, though vaguely, the chandelier suspended from the ceiling, festooned with spiderwebs, the old piano in the corner, the lid closed and untouched. I mean, okay, obviously, right? Mikey gotta become a vampire, and then the vampire GFs can live together for eternity in this castle, and they can renovate it and make it nice. Bam. End of story. The air was stagnant and it stunk of decay. The entrance hall was dark too, illuminated only by a few weak, wavering bands of moonlight which spilled in through the windows. This got me thinking, right? I mean, Cause I thought about, you know, them redecorating the manor, and then I remembered how Magdalena was like saying like, oh, you know, how light is nice, and colors and, you know, daylight and all that. And I guess if they were both vampires, they would probably be hanging out at night. And sure, maybe there wouldn't be colors and stuff, but whatever. So that reminded me of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, the book, where the main character was... Not the main character, the main love interest, Rain, he was turned into a vampire. And because he lived for quite a while as a human, he really liked the sun, right? So every sunrise, he would essentially like stay outside in the sun to watch the sunrise until he physically could not bear it anymore, and then he would go back in the darkness, right? I just thought that's like a really cool thing, I feel like, to characterize a vampire, I guess. I don't know. Just kinda remember that. Anyways. The entrance hall was dark too, illuminated only by weak, wavering bands of moonlight which spilled in through the windows. Isn't that just a neat? I mean, yeah, but I guess a neat doesn't want to see the light. I don't know. Moonlight was bright enough, however, that Mikey could see the hall was not deserted. She could see figures, one hanging back, obscured by shadow, while the other two faced off against the other. One of these figures was Magdalena. She was glowering, lips pulled back in a snarl which revealed her sharp like knives. The other figure, meanwhile, was unfamiliar to Mikey. Her stature was diminutive, her heart-shaped face dwarfed by her swathes of fair hair. This figure, the girl, seemed so slight, Mikey wouldn't have put her age as anything past 8 or 9. She was so slender, there was something fairy-like about her. The girl looked innocent, but a glance made it apparent that she was no ordinary child. Her skin was as white as milk, and her eyes were liquid gold. She must have been like Magdalena, and like the girl, Mikey thought with a shudder, shackled to the bed, impaled through the heart. She was a vampire.
Come on, Mikey. Let's try and get around them while they're busy. We've got a bit of a way to go, but I think we'll be able to make it. I don't think they've noticed us.
Henny led Mikey down the stairs. She followed, barefooted, dazed by all which had occurred. True to Henny's words, Magdalena seemed not to notice her. She was too busy glowering at the young vampire girl, truly awful expression upon her face.
Goodness me. Is this how you treat all your guests? You aren't the most hospitable, are you? I thought you would have been glad of the company, living in a lonely pile like this for so very long. But I suppose not. Please don't tell me you're one of those curious people who enjoys being alone. If that were the case, I doubt you would be much an ardent practitioner of kidnapping.
Shut up! Don't you... Wait, how did I do Magdalena's voice? Don't you take that tone with me, you monster! Don't you dare!
Oh?
Girl raised her eyebrow.
A monster, am I?
Yes, you are. You're an unpardonable monster. Don't act so high and mighty when you know what you did. You killed my mistress, you coward. You killed her in cold blood, while she was chained up, unable to act. She was only a child.
Ah, yes. I suppose I did do that, didn't I?
You suppose?
Indeed, I did. And I must apologize for that. I fear I must have made quite a poor first impression. Perhaps I ought to have sought your company out first, rather than heading straight to the little mistress in her chamber. But I thought it common courtesy, you see, to talk to the lady of the house before her servants.
Oh, damn.
You might have had years to perfect your deception, but I can tell at a glance you're not a proper lady.
You're just a common scullery maid? Oh, I didn't see that one. Oh, I thought that maybe the little girl, Magdalena's mistress, was like, I don't know, like her sister or something, or like a cousin. But maybe that really was just her actual like mistress, and she was her maid.
It is very amusing that you thought you could act above your station like that. It's so funny, I might laugh. But I suppose that would be rude too. Goodness me, I really can't do anything right.
Ida Marie. A third figure, this one tall, slender man, had been half hidden in the shadows, stepped forward to caution the young girl. Ah, I know, Gyol! Like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. I mean, I was also surprised to learn that the mistress was actually really young. I think that was a very good touch. I kind of imagined her as really old, but I feel like it made it a lot more tragic that she was like very, very young. Don't make such a scene. Murdering a child is nothing to gloat about. Not when she was incapable of fighting back. Now, let us stop the silliness. Oh my gosh, Slim! Welcome in! Thank you, Slim, for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. My name's Lux. I like to read. And I play a lot of Souls games on this channel, and some other games that are like story heavy, I guess. Damn, the vampires like him young. Slimy! How was your stream, Slim? What were you playing? Oh, right now we're doing reading a visual novel. It's coming to a close, honestly. It's kind of like the final confrontation situation going on at the moment, so it's quite a lot happening. It's playing high on life too. I don't know that game. What kind of game is it? How was it? But it's true. Of the 3 vampires, we have seen 2 have been children. I mean, I guess. I don't know if like, I guess if you assume that they become a vampire by being bitten, I guess. This came out last week and it's a funny game. Oh, okay, okay. Might have to check it out. Thank you again for the raid, though. Also, I have set up... Oh, yeah, no. There we go. I was like, I've set up a stream elements response. It was there, it was there. Nice. Alright. Back to it, I guess. And now, let us stop the silliness and focus on the task at hand. We still have 1 more vampire to dispose of before we can consider our job done. Oh? Vampire girl, Haida Marie, Mikey supposed her name was, inclined her head in the tall man's direction and pouted.
That isn't any fun, Johan. You should know how much I love talking. It's rare that I get a chance to interact with one of my own.
I'm aware, but you shouldn't let your get distracted. Not while we still have a job to do. It's an FPS made by the guy that made Rick and Morty. The first game was fun. Okay, that's cool. FPS, I do like some FPSs. Gonna raid and run and get some errands done. Yeah, no problem. Thank you again for the raid. Now go rest up or go do errands. That's what the fuck did I want to say here? Oh. Thank you again and enjoy your days, lab. The gun stock. The gun stock? Why would the guns be talking? You need to focus.
Ah, what pain. You never let me have any fun.
Fun? Elena stared Haida Marie down, her red eyes little more than pinpricks in the whites of her eyes. You would kill my young mistress and you would call it fun? Have you truly no heart? You're reprehensible.
Perhaps I am, but you have no right to chastise me yourself, vampire. How many innocents have you murdered yourself over the years to satiate your own bloodlust?
Guns are living beings. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Of course. Have to keep some guns as pets.
This house has quite a macabre history. You can pretend otherwise. You've been doing that for decades, but you can't hide the truth from me. I can smell the blood in the air, and all of the death. Now, I think it's high time I put an end to your wicked ways. It shouldn't be that hard.
Oh, Slimy, didn't you once say that, like, when I was saying that I'm European, that means I don't know about guns, but you said, like, oh, so am I, but I do know about guns? I guess that would make sense with the job, with your job. Haida Marie's golden eyes flickered languidly over Magdalena.
You aren't at all in your peak physical condition. I can see it in that pinched, pained look in your face, and in the way that you slouch your shoulders. That little mistress of yours, you kept chained up like a rabid dog, hasn't been treating you well, has she?
That is none of your business.
You've been sustaining her over the years with fresh victims. Don't think I don't know what's been going on. But she hasn't been at all appreciative of your efforts.
Listen, ADHD and I barely remember last week looks. Never mind a couple. Then believe me what I said, you said.
I imagine she gets violent when she's hungry. I wouldn't be at all surprised if she bites.
Be quiet.
That's the problem, of course.
And our kind are turned too young.
Ah, that's the problem for when kind are turned too young. These poor, pathetic, fledgling vampires tend to lose their rationality.
Ah, okay, okay.
They can't handle the strain of immortality, and their mental faculties abandon them. They lose their sense of self, and they become nothing more than monsters.
Oh, I like that. I mean, I don't like that for Magdalena's mistress, but in terms of like lore and world building, I like that.
They can't be reasoned with. They can scarcely even think. They exist solely to satisfy their own hunger. But we vampires are greedy, selfish creatures, and we're never satisfied for long. It is impossible to keep young vampires like that from lashing out, no matter how hard you might try. That girl was obviously a lost cause. I have no idea why he thought it was a good idea to keep her alive for so long. I was doing her a favor when I killed her. She was an aberration.
I said, be quiet. I might not be in my best condition right now, but I'm more than a match for a coward like you, who murders small children for sport. I won't let you escape unpunished, not after what you did to my mistress.
Now that is funny. It's awfully hypocritical if you do want to fight me. When I was turned before my 11th year. In human terms, I'm still a young girl myself. But please don't get any funny ideas into that empty head of yours. I'm not so weak as that creature you called your mistress. I never did lose my sense of self, though. Oh, sense of self, though I've been alive. I am one of the oldest vampires in Europe, and I'm certainly the most powerful. Do you really think you can best me? If so, I admire your optimism, but it's very much misplaced. It would be easier if you simply submitted to me. But never mind. I'm more than willing to teach you a lesson.
Mikey had been watching this exchange halfway up the grand staircase, frozen in horror, but now Henny seemed, at long last, to have had enough. Oh, back to action music.
Mikey, come on!
Henny tugged at Mikey's hand again, trying to chivvy her along.
Need to move.
Mikey knew Henny was right, yet she could not tear her eyes away from Magdalena. Ida Murray was fast approaching Magdalena, supremely self-confident despite her short stature. The vampire girl might have looked like a child, but Mikey knew she was anything but. Her smile was genial enough, but her gold eyes were cold, and contained within them no mercy. It was she who had killed the child chained upstairs. She had driven a stake through her heart and had listened, perhaps, to her dying cries. She was every inch a killer, just as Magdalena was. Now, she meant to put an end to Magdalena too, and Mikey feared she might be successful in it, ever. How could Mikey run away with Henny and let that happen? She could not. She had to protect Magdalena. I'm sorry, Hen, but... Mikey, with a burst of newfound strength, wrenched her arm free from Henny's grasp, then dashed forth. I need to help Lena.
What? But Mikey!
Henny called after her friend, her right arm extended.
Why would you do that? She kidnapped you. You don't owe her anything. She might...
might have kidnapped me, but that doesn't mean I don't care about her. Stockholm Syndrome much. She's a good person, really, and I don't want her to be hurt, much less killed. Now wait. Oh, please, wait. His feet slapped against the ground as she ran, her white nightgown billowing about her legs. Coming between Magdalena and Heide Marie, she spread out her arms in the hopeful yet ultimately futile gesture of one who meant to stop the whistling of the wind or the lashing of the rain. Don't do this, please. Don't hurt. Damn. What if we end stream? But vampire hole? What? Damn. How? Despite Mikey's good intentions, she was unable to finish her entreaty. Marie had been moving too quickly. Far more quickly than any human eye could hope to follow. And though spying Mikey, she had not been able to slow time. That's a cool art of like Marie in like this art style. Well, that's what Mikey wants, right? I guess she does want to die, but like, you know, I assume that's how you become a vampire, so she gotta become a vampire somehow. The young vampire was soon upon Mikey, her right hand extended. Oh shit, that is just I thought that was a knife. That is just her arm. Holy shit, okay. Her nails, which were filed in dangerously sharp points, pressed against Mikey's back, then pierced straight through her chest. Marie's right hand penetrated Mikey's ribcage, as if her flesh was ephemeral, made of nothing sturdier than spider webs. Though Mikey cried out, it took a few moments for the pain to fully hit her. Her eyes were wider than goose eggs as she looked down, straight at the arm which penetrated her shuddering body. Viscous red liquid was beginning to ooze down Marie's white wrist. It was so vivid in the gloom of Magdalena's cavernous entrance hall that it looked unreal, like something from a dream. Mikey's blood was brighter than rubies, thicker, strawberry jam. Mikey's body twitched about Marie's hand. She felt herself turning numb by increments. First her legs, then her chest, then her shoulders, her arms, till she could no longer feel the tips of her fingers. Mikey looked at her own blood as it dripped onto the threadbare carpet and moaned. Her blood looked oddly beautiful, in an obscene, profane sort of way. Mikey didn't have the time to contemplate how brightly her blood shone, nor how otherworldly it seemed. The agony of being rent in two soon overcame her. Mikey! Oh god, Mikey! Mikey? And with a twin series of cries from the two women whom Mikey cared about the most, her body tottered. She teetered. All strength she had once possessed fled her, as if that too had been a dream. Holy shit! Whoa! Mikey drew away from Marie with one jerking footstep, thus freeing herself from the young vampire's grasping right hand. I mean, I guess you can do that? I'm not sure you would be strong enough for that, but what do I know? I don't know nothing about arms penetrating, stabbing your body through, skewering your body even. The chest wound, no longer stoppered by Marie, seemed to expand when she shuffled away. It gaped open like the maw of a hungry beast, and more of Mikey's lifeblood spilled onto the stone staircase. Mikey pressed one white, trembling hand to her wound, and was surprised when her fingers came away stained. She could smell blood in the air. Her blood. It was a dizzying, overpowering stench which plugged up her nostrils. Mikey swayed. Then, with a hiss of pain, she fell. Mikey's body hit the ground like that of a lifeless, senseless doll. And her vision, black. Dun dun dun! This looks like a good spot to end for today, because this will probably get resolved, right? And then we only have the epilogue left. So I don't think the epilogue will be that long, you know? Like, I don't want to just do 30 minutes of reading next time and then call it a day, you know? I guess maybe we'll go a little longer. Yeah, no, let's go for like 10 more minutes. Mikey, oh god. Okay, sausage is none. Okay, again, sausage is none. Henny watched with wide, anxious eyes as Mikey collapsed to the ground. Pressing one hand to her aching chest, the maid cried out as if to rouse her mistress, though to little avail. Mikey, please, wake up! Oh, this can't be happening! Henny dashed to Mikey's side and knelt before her. Mikey's hand cradled upon her lap. Henny took care not to jostle Mikey as she embraced her. Fear of hurting her, but a resultant gasp of pain from Mikey's lips would have been preferable to the silence that Henny was greeted with. Mikey didn't open her eyes, though Henny threaded her fingers through her disheveled hair. She was still breathing, though barely. This offered Henny little in the way of solace. Mikey's face was so pale she might have been a corpse. The wound Marie had inflicted upon her, meanwhile, was gaping. Continued to ooze blood like a particularly macabre fountain. Henny watched. Henny did not touch Mikey's wound. She worried she would only make it worse, but it was bleeding so profusely she soon found herself sullied. Rich, overwhelming stench of blood clung to Henny, but she didn't pull away from her mistress. To leave Mikey lying upon the floor with nothing to cushion her head seemed callous beyond all measure. Henny was now certain that there was nothing she could do to save her dear friend. Mikey had lost too much blood, and her poor face was so very pale. Mikey. Oh, Mikey. I didn't come here to hurt you. This isn't what I wanted. I wanted to rescue you. I thought I could help, so why? More tears fell from Henny's lashes. They rolled down her cheeks and dripped upon Mikey's body, mingling with the bright red blood which stained the front of her gown. Why did things work out this way? How did I make such a mess out of everything? Why am I so useless? These cries forced their way from Henny's throat in a low, pained moan, almost like that of an animal. Her tears were so intense that her body seemed to collapse in on itself. Henny knew crying would not help, but soon she could not stop herself. There seemed nothing to do but cry. But with Mikey in so sorry a state. Why, her body seemed to be growing colder with every passing second. Mikey's blood, however, was very warm, and still she continued to spill it. Oh, God! Magdalena, for her part, was immobile in a manner which almost echoed Mikey's. Her eyes were so wide they seemed all whites. Her body quivered, fingers curling into fists at her sides as she murmured, "This can't be happening. I don't believe it. I won't. But oh, Mikey."
Now this is an intriguing development.
Marie surveyed Magdalena's archly, one hand resting upon her hip. Her right hand was still daubed up to the wrist in Mikey's blood, which had now begun to congeal. Though Marie had been the one to deal Mikey that fatal blow, she didn't seem particularly moved by Mikey's grisly fate. Lips pursed, she said in a voice cold enough it made Magdalena shudder.
I didn't think that you'd be so upset by Mikey's injury, vampire. Did you not intend to train her like this yourself? I only sped up the process along, although what occurred was rather unfortunate. I meant to help her, not harm her.
I don't care what you meant. Whether you meant to help her or not is irrelevant now. Look what you've done. How could you?
How could I?
Marie raised an eyebrow.
You forget, vampire, that you are the one who kidnapped her. I never would have been summoned here were it not for your actions. You are the one who is to be blamed for this mess. Why, I didn't even mean to hurt her. I was trying to go after you, but she got in the way. I have no idea why she wanted to protect. She must have some very strange ideas about our kind. Doesn't she know that we vampires are stronger than any humans could ever hope to be? Especially weak, willowy-limbed women such as herself. If I hadn't adjusted the angle of my attack in time, I would have pierced her heart. Then she would not be breathing at all.
But of course Mikey knows about vampires. We've spent enough time together that she should know full well my strength eclipsed hers, and yet... Elena grit her teeth together, overcome by the intensity of her own emotions. She knew that. She still came between us. She must have meant to protect me. Mikey has always been like that. Thoughtful to a fault. To the point of self-sacrifice. Why did she have to play at being her heroine? She should have known that things would end up like this. Oh, Mikey. Mikey, you fool. Magdalena couldn't cry, but her shoulders shook regardless. Her face twisted anew, not with anger, but with grief. She pressed her hands to her face. You're right. I might have lashed out at you, but the fact remains that Mikey wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for me. I'm the one who put her in danger. This is all my fault. I never wanted to harm her, but... Another dry sob wrenched its way from Magdalena's throat. One so intense she had to squeeze her eyes shut. The smell of blood hung in the air, dense and heavy. Magdalena could smell it when she inhaled, tasted upon her tongue. Ah, hero, she-hero. I messed up. I'm not sure how you say it. Kind of. Blood was like that of a siren song. It was sweetly intoxicating, but the knowledge it belonged to Mikey made Magdalena's stomach turn. How will I ever make amends for what I've done? Oh, Mikey. You sweet, idiotic, adorable little fool. There was no need for you to leap to my defense. I'm no hopeless damsel. Mikey, please. Henny, who was kneeling on the ground, continued to shake Mikey to little avail. Like the drug, but the H sound at the start. Well, doesn't the he aren't they both pronounced pretty like, I don't know. Oh, or the he sound, or the he sound, or the he sound? Hey Lex, would you like to call Cece a pretty girl? She's laying next to the speaker. Hey pretty girl! And hello Samurai Man, welcome in! It's been a while since I've seen you around. Thanks. Mikey's breath was beginning to wear thin, even as Henny implored her to open her eyes. Take her hand. Live on, despite the odds. Please don't go. I couldn't bear it. Magdalena stiffened anew as Henny spoke. She sounded so desperate, it mirrored her own feelings as well. She didn't want Mikey to die either, but what was she to do? I don't know, make her an eternal GF, I guess? I don't know. She's gooning right now. No, someone just died. Yeah, a lot of sad events are happening right now, so I'm home for the week. I see. Sharing her smut with us. Saibi! Someone literally died! The main character literally died, not just someone. We're trying to save her. What is the point in living as long as I have, if I know not how to help the people I care about the most? What in the world am I to do? Marie, who remained arched despite Henny and Magdalena's evident distress, only sniffled.
There is something you can do, you know, if you wish to save her as you claim.
What? Magdalena drew her hands down from her face and raised her head to meet Marie's gaze. What are you referring to exactly?
Must I elaborate further? You must know already, vampire, given your nature. Do not tell me you have not considered the possibility of turning her.
You mean I ought to make her one of us? I'm surprised that Marie suggested that. Like, I thought she was... Because she's working with the church, right? I mean, I guess she's working there to survive, so I guess she doesn't care if there are more vampires around, but still! Like 90% of what she talks about? That's not true! I talk about other stuff as well.
I did not say that you ought to, that you could. If you care about this human woman as much as you seem to, you can still save her. You need only to bite her neck and drain some of her blood. Enough to change her. Her heart might stop beating, but she'll still be alive. In a sense, at least. You should be fast about it, though, if that's what you desire. I don't think she has much time left.
Yeah, but actively reading to us this time. Well, yeah, gotta share with the world. Also, it's more a romancy thing. It's not really smut. There's just a romance and angst. What, like you're mid cooking? My cooking is pretty good, thank you very much. My baking skills even better. Just saying.
You cannot transform corpses, only the living. And I suppose you must know that already.
Of course I do. You didn't need to. You don't need to explain it to me, though, as though I'm a child. I have thought about turning her, of course. Believe me, I have. You really think I could go forward with such a great act of selfishness?
You think it would be selfish to spare her life?
Yes, I do. I would be sparing her from nothing if I turned her into a vampire. I would accomplish nothing save making her suffer. I don't want Mikey to die, but I want even less to condemn her to eternal death, without the reprieve of resting. Not unless she were to will it. If these are my only two choices, then I would rather let Mikey pass peacefully. Oh wow. Also, what is the DLC for this game again? Well, the DLC is spicy, but I mean, I don't know how many scenes are on there, because honestly, just playing through this, there hasn't been that many chances for it being spicy. Like, they barely just kissed like an hour ago. If anything, they're just kind of teasing, kind of like, you know. But I would far rather see her live on as a human woman. I just want her to be happy.
I see. So that's how it...
Adamari replied after a brief pause, one hand now resting beneath her chin.
I had wondered about your precise relationship with the poor dying Fräulein, but it seems like it was more than that of a captor and a captive. You might have kidnapped her for nefarious purposes, but it seems you really did grow to care for her. You have no desire to turn her speaks volumes for your character. You aren't the sort of monster who would condemn others to a hollow, empty life of eternal undeath, such as those who sunk their fangs into us all those decades prior. Vampire though you are still capable of rational thought. Perhaps that's why the clumsy young Fräulein jumped to your defense as she did. She must have seen there was something worth saving. I can't hate you after hearing your response, and neither do I wish to harm you.
Yes, but we both know you're doing a solo playthrough of it with the DLC after this. I'm just gonna check the parts where I think something's gonna happen, but yeah. I even saved it, look. I even saved 2 potential ones.
I would rather the story end on a cheerful note, too. This rarely happens in my line of work, so...
Heidemarie clicked her fingers and glanced sharply at Johan.
You know what to do, my charming assistant. Please, make yourself useful.
But of course, I'm always ready and willing to serve. If I may be able to help Lady Mikey, then I shall do all I can to ease her suffering. It is my duty as a humble servant of the Lord. Sure, check. Yeah. Because, I mean, I don't think it happens before, like, anywhere before that, and I don't want to click 1 hour through this whole thing to find something, you know? It was with these words on his lips that Johan bent down by Mikey's side. Reaching down, he captured between his fingers one of Mikey's limp, pale wrists, and offered Henny a smile. What the hell? Please forgive me, Frau Henrique. I don't mean to disturb you, but I must if I am to aid her. I will try to be quick about it, though. You cannot heal a wound like that, man! She has lost an awful lot of blood.
I can see that myself, but oh, what do you mean to do to her exactly?
I mean only to aid her if I can. I have helped others before in similar circumstances, almost as dire as this. I fear this might be a challenge, though. It may take me some time and no small amount of concentration. May I I ask that you hush so I can carry out my work uninterrupted? Yeah, you want to get to gluten as soon as possible, right, Susnan? I mean, why would I read the whole thing that I just read, you know?
Of course you may. That will help my Mikey, but I fail to see what can be done for her. I don't have training as a physician, do you?
I mean, even if he had training as a physician, that is a hole through her body. Like, holy shit.
Please.
Edna Marie scoffed.
Johan's capabilities aren't half so vague. There's no need for a needle and a thread to sew together his patients. Even unfortunates, such as your Lady Mikey. Johan has several unique capabilities which normal humans do not possess.
Oh my gosh, he's magic.
He is very pure and goodly, you see. His hands exude a certain kind of energy, I suppose you might term it. Or else, magic?
You know that I don't hold the magic. It smacks of the devil. I would prefer to think of my abilities as a gift, or else a blessing, bestowed upon me by...
God up high, yes, I know. Goodness, you're so picky about these things, Johan. I don't think the semantics matter awfully myself. I've been alive too long to care for such petty things. But you humans are all so sensitive.
Okay, I didn't see that coming. I thought she was gonna get turned into a vampire.
I wasn't trying to insinuate that you have been touched by the devil. You're too much of a do-gooder for that.
Why, thank you. I will take that as a compliment, I suppose.
It wasn't meant as one. You're so very kind, you make my stomach turn.
You would say that, loving chaos as you do. You can never pass up on a chance to make others uncomfortable.
And what of it? I believe I've earned that right after living for so many centuries. Life gets boring, you know, if one is always trying to be nice. I suppose that is something you wouldn't know, though, having dwelt upon this earth for all that long.
Not having, oopsie. I'm glad of that too. Living as long as you have would wrap me into a ne'er-do-well such as yourself.
You would call me a
ne'er-whatever-do-well? How cutting.
My poor heart bleeds.
Your heart can't bleed. There's no blood left in it. Your body dried out a long time ago.
And now you mean to call me a husk?
Okay, why are we having this conversation? There are more pressing matters at hand. Why are they insulting each other? We don't care. Oh my god. They can do that later. Heather Marie drew back in display of offense, her arms folded.
Well, I never.
As Heather Marie and Johan bickered, Henny looked to Mikey with a pale face, perturbed by her mistress's plight. Damn, she's a dry hag like looks. I have blood in my veins, thank you very much. They're flirting? I don't think they're flirting. This is the lesbian romance, you know. And I'm throwing out insults today. I know, right? Like, what did I do to you? Just called your job Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess, and now you're like here, like returning everything with a vengeance. Benediction. Mikey receives a heavenly blessing is literally the achievement that I just got. She could see, even as she sat there, a strange celestial light beginning to gather about Johan's fingers. The light spread over Mikey's body, imbuing it in an otherworldly glow, which made Henny gasp. I'm at work. It just puts me in a bad mood. I'm sorry to hear that.
Goodness. I don't fully understand what it is you're doing, but are you healing my mistress?
That is such an interest. Like, it's so interesting to see Johan in this art style, because I don't know, he's kind of like more detailed in a way. But wow. Healing? Is such a thing truly possible? It is with my good God-given gift, yes. I have the ability to finish aches and nothing more in my hand, which is why I work with Heidemer. It is my duty to keep an eye on her and to aid any unwitting victims who might get caught up in the crossfire of battle. She is not given the restraint, as you might have noticed. It's fine, I'll just take it out on you, Kay. No, Kay! No deal here. Here, Johann sighed. It is harder for me to heal wounds like this, though, particularly when so much blood has been lost. I need to concentrate if I'm to have any hope of succeeding.
Oh yes, please forgive me. I've never seen anything like this before, so I was curious. But if this will help Mikey, you can do whatever it is you want.
Deal or no deal? No, we're not insulting each other.
Whatever. Whatever.
Annemarie smiled thinly.
I would be careful when issuing such words forth into the future, Fräulein. You give Johann rather too much leeway. Fortunately for you, he's kind enough not to take advantage, but you might not be so lucky when it comes to the machinations of others.
Heidemery snickered unpleasantly while Johann continued to work. He gripped Mikey's wrist tight and bowed his head, his lips pursed together in silent prayer while he worked. Henny, meanwhile, could only watch, wide-eyed, still holding on to Mikey's crumpled form. It seemed impossible that Mikey might be restored to her senses after having been so grievously injured. Why, it would take a real miracle to save her. That was what Henny thought. Weren't Johann's healing hands miraculous in and of themselves? Henny had never before heard of any humans who possessed such powers. She felt rather overwhelmed by it all. She did not begrudge Johann for aiding her mistress, but it unnerved her all the same. I mean, it would definitely be better, I feel like, if there was some kind of foreshadowing. Because he just kind of like Deus Ex Machina whipped out his healing power so that Mikey is saved and not turned into a vampire, and that is not like the best thing to happen, I guess? I mean, it's still fun to have Mikey not turn into a vampire, because that would be like cliche and all that. And probably in a story about vampires, I shouldn't be like nitpicking and being like, oh, how can like a human be a healer now with like basically bringing people from the dead? Right? I shouldn't be like, ooh, magic when there are literally vampires in this world. But I still wish it was more foreshadowed or just kind of like said before that there are special powers, I guess. Ones that come from God, I don't know. I mean, Lux, I'll make your therapist think you went through a car crash. No! I don't wanna argue, insult each other with you. Do the insulting with you. He's a level 10 priest though, Lux. I guess so, yeah. Despite Johann's assertions that his abilities had been bestowed upon him by God, there was something unnatural about the light which emanated from him. I mean, there are literal angels around him, man. And he had half a mind to pull Mikey away from him, and so to sever the connection established with her mistress and the grim-faced father. This would result in a disaster. Johann seemed to be the only person capable of aiding her. As such, Henny had little choice but to allow him to work, despite her own misgivings. Henny closed her eyes, paddling Mikey's head upon her lap, and internally she prayed. Please, Henny prayed, with a fervor she had not felt for quite some time, not since escaping Lord and Lady von Essen's carriage with Mikey in tow. Let my Mikey be still. Let her open her eyes. Oh, this is a nude scene, Lux. What? Look at the angels at the back. Oh, that one angel is covered up. They have little togas on, I think. Let her draw in breath anew, without having to struggle for it, and lessen the burden which weighs upon her body. Please let her get better. And he prayed and she prayed and she prayed as the seconds elapsed. So entrenched in her own thoughts, her surroundings slipped away. But in the DLC it isn't. I mean, mm, uh, these angels are probably not changed. That's all I gotta say. The stench of blood in the air no longer weighed upon her, and neither did the anxious beating of her own heart within her breast. She forgot about Magdalena, who stood still as a statue, and of Heidemarie, who watched with idle curiosity of a bystander, even about Johann, whose fingers still clasped Mikey's wrist. She thought only of Mikey, her mistress, and her friend both. She recalled the times they had spent together when they had been younger, and their ill-fated excursions into the von Essen family crypt, which had incurred Lady von Essen's ire. What was that face you just made? Looks freaky. I was rubbing my eyes, and then I yawned. I don't know what my model was doing. She recalled... She recalled walks through the von Essen family's estate, their arms looped together as if they were promenading ladies, of sitting by the riverbank in the summer months. Dragonflies were out and about. Yeah, I did yawn. She recalled the games of Joker played in Mikey's bedroom. The shy, whispered secrets Mikey had shared with her late at night when nobody else had been around. She recalled Mikey's fears about marrying Walter Gerhardt and how she had trembled when she had confided these feelings, and he had been dismissive of Mikey's worries back then. She had tried to cheer Mikey up, to tell her that things would not be so bad once she had settled in. Now Henny feared she had been callous. She upset Mikey by failing to pay proper heed to her concerns. Henny wished that she could apologize for any hurt she might have caused. She wished she could have told Mikey how much she meant to her. She wished... Oh, there was so much she wished for, and so much she wished to say. She wished for most of Mikey would remember. Dun dun dun. Okay, perfect timing for to end the episode on. I mean, it's not an episode; it's a stream. Man, okay. So we got to Act 4. We probably got almost most of the way through Act 4. Which means we only have the epilogue left for I don't know. When did I say I'm gonna be streaming? On Thursday or something like that? I think it was Thursday. I mean Thursday or Friday, but one day is Dark Souls and one day is this. So we're definitely finishing. Because, like, I don't want to get too far into it, I guess. I mean, it is getting pretty late, so I guess it's a good time to end anyways. Because I kind of don't want to, like, finish the game in, like, an hour, and then I'll be like, okay, now what? But tomorrow is Dark Souls. Tomorrow is Dark Souls. Yes. I think it's Thursday that this continues on, and hopefully I can finish the visual novel and Luxathon kind of a little, and hopefully I make some good progress in Dark Souls as well, because like what, there's only like the bosses grind pretty much from now on, or is there any more exploring? Hopefully, I mean, that obviously totally depends on how well I do against the bosses, which everyone will probably be saying like, oh, you're gonna suck, and you're probably gonna be stuck on them for like 5 hours. So, you know, we'll see. Maybe I can hurry up with Dark Souls 3. Maybe not. Maybe there will be 2 more weeks of Dark Souls because I will not be able to beat the bosses. Who knows? But Dark Souls 1 is already ready and waiting. So don't you guys worry. There will be more Souls games. Yes. But yeah, wow. Today was quite a wild ride, I guess. We got the kiss, we got the angst, we got the reveal about both Magdalena's mistress and like who she was, and the fact that Magdalena was a maid, I guess. Uh and Mikey died or didn't. because Johann has healing magic, I guess. Hype. I'm glad you're hyped for Dark Souls. um. So. So yeah, there was a lot. So essentially, Mikey gets healed. Johann and Heidemarie leave, and Mikey stays in Magdalena's castle, and they live happily ever after. And think about the whole. Probably think about the whole like who's gonna live longer and who's gonna die. Kind of not during the visual novel, probably. So it turned out differently than I thought it would be. Exactly. Yes, it got quite more angsty than I thought. I thought it would be a pretty like regular vampire romance story, but Henny was very important. But yeah, also the whole thing with the Magdalena's mistress, really like that, so honestly. I didn't think I would end up liking it as much, but I think it was very well done. But anyways, I that is something I will be saving for after we're done with the entire thing. I will be commenting on the whole thing. Doing a live review. So maybe I should make a little plan because I'll probably forget about a bunch of. You love watching Lux suffer. Of course, you love watching me suffer. It broke from the Beauty and the Beast stuff. Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did. Can't wait for our live book review. Yeah. I've been thinking of doing those for like other books, but I guess it would be best to start with something that we all kind of experience together, at least in some capacity, and then I can, comment on that so everyone knows what I'm talking about, essentially. Book Mom is best book club non-leader. Yeah, maybe we should introduce some reading, and actual book clubbing. So far, it's just book club, quote unquote book club, but it's streaming and playing Dark Souls. Which is fun and all that. But, I guess I'm just saying. Anyways. I think I should probably sleep a little earlier today, so I will be leaving soon. I don't know. Sounds kind of weird. No. Book club, the reading. Always a joy being here with you. Thank you so much for watching, y'all, and chatting with me. Please get some good eat. I will. Everyone else as well who has watched and chatted with me. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Slim, for the raid. Really appreciated that. I hope everyone has a good day or a good night. Let's all hope that Slimy doesn't get eaten by a golden Freddy. And yeah, still I like how you made the book moth, but don't use it for this. I mean, I've made it so that you guys know how you look like. I didn't necessarily make it to like sit on my boobs, So just so that you know how you look like. I mean, maybe I could add him like in the corner or something like that. I could figure out something like that. Yeah, maybe. So that Bookmoth is always watching. But yeah. Lex loves her Bookmoth. Exactly. Like I don't need my Bookmoth mascot here with me because I have you guys. I have you guys over here, right? Like right over there. Maybe I should put the book moth mascot over chat so that yeah, everyone knows that. Damn you, sussy nun. I will leave before you bully me back. Alright. Everyone. Have a good night. I gotta run. Yeah, or a good day. Or yeah, anyways. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Dark Souls again. Bye, Lux. See ya. See you guys. Bye bye.